Hi, I'm Alex Archbold. I've been buying and selling antiques since I was a kid. Over the years, generations of our family have gotten involved in the business, and I'll search just about anywhere I can to find hidden treasures both big and small. I never know what I'll turn up next. It's about exploring new places, seeing new sights, and having fun. And even though sometimes I get over my head, we try and make things a little better along the way. This is Curiosity Inc. Hey everybody, and welcome to today's episode. It's a beautiful day. I was out at a estate sale this morning, and although I couldn't film me buying stuff, because there's other people around, I ended up with a quantity of cool things, and it was liquidation prices because they didn't want to take any of it back inside the house. So I've got the vehicle loaded up behind me here as I cruise around in the old Westphalia Volkswagen that I've got. We're gonna get back to the house and offload, and I'll show you what we found, and truthfully do some discovery because I was literally just packing boxes in. I have no idea what's inside some of this stuff. I know that I bought some jewelry and buttons and some other stuff, but it needs to be organized, sorted, and hopefully there'll be a few good treasures along the way. So follow along on today's episode while I dig through some estate finds, and hopefully there'll be some good discoveries in the jewelry. Anyway, let's go. Now the fun part, to open up the old Westy bus here and see what I got inside. Stuff. So I'm gonna drag some of these things in. Don't ask me why I bought all these buttons, but I did. Every time you have there are people, I'll tell you why I bought the buttons. There are people who make their own clothing. There are people who repair vintage clothing, and sometimes you need a button. Sometimes you need a lot of buttons. And so I bought a lot of buttons. And there was also marbles and stuff in there. But to sort and organize and sell these properly, I'm not going to sell them by the bag full, which must have taken them forever to sift and sort through. I ended up getting some old mason jars, which I'm going to fill with buttons, and we'll run them through auction that way. There was a couple old radios, wooden General Electric that the cord is not on, and then this Bakelite radio, which actually isn't in that bad a shape, and apparently does turn on, so they say. We'll plug it in and try it out, but it looks pretty clean. I'm going to start hauling this stuff into the garage, and then I'll have a better chance to sift and sort through and show you guys what I found, and we'll get things organized. But more excitingly, I'm more excited with looking at this, which is a giant box full of jewelry that was her mom's, and she doesn't really know what's in there, and neither do I. So we'll do a little discovery on that, probably inside the house together. Old copper wash basin, and it has its lid, which is fairly unique. Inside were a bunch of these old brass soldering torches, which people will turn into lamps and do other crazy things with. I was at I don't know if you remember on an episode not that long ago, I went to an antique mall and somebody had put a flickering flame light bulb on the front, and it made a very interesting little lamp. So I figured, why not pick it up? Somebody might want to get crafty, creative with that. And of course the copper basin's neat on its own. All right. Oh yeah, there was this old, these were common back in the teens and 20s, these sort of domed glass pictures, and that's an early photograph of the Rockies. Didn't want to leave it behind. It's not in the best condition, but it's not terrible. And an antique stop sign, which if they're decommissioned, you can own them. Sometimes they're illegal to own, but this one has been shot at 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5 bullets in this thing. Somebody was a good shot. They got right between the O. They almost spelt out stop with the bullets. But there are people who collect old stop signs, and you put them in your garage on display. I don't know what people, you know what people do with things, whatever they want to do, hang it on a wall. I'm sure my daughter Abigail would probably like that in her bedroom even. She's decorating with old signs and stuff like that right now. But we'll get this in. But I'm most excited to go through that. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. There was a little bag of watches. And hey Melissa, maybe I'll get you to get your hands in there just to rip that open. Sure. Melissa's here appearing off camera.
I just had a shower. There you go. I made a big...
Okay, so let's see if there's anything good. That's probably nothing. Those are just decorative. I'm hoping that there's going to be a couple. I saw that in there. Yes, yes, it is. That's a Hamilton. 10 carat plated bezel. That's a 1950s Hamilton watch. Do you want to wind that up and see if it does anything? Feel tight?
Yeah, it feels tight.
So it might need servicing.
It's not winding.
I wonder if I can get that going. Hamilton's a really good brand though. I saw kind of the back of it and I thought, well, that's definitely like a 1950s sort of looking watch, which is why I grabbed this whole box. But it's an old digital watch. Phaser quartz. Those are actually kind of in right now. People are wearing this kind of stuff as like 80s, 90s retro is back in fashion right now. A little 50s Timex. I don't know what this is. Klebar. That's actually not a bad brand. They did some really nice chronographs and stuff back in the day. That's an okay watch. And then we got another, what is this one? Caravel. So that's like by Bulova. So there are some vintage watches in the mix here, but mostly I'm excited about that one Hamilton watch that was in there. And this is more like 1930s. I'm just surprised that this stuff didn't sell at the sale prior to me getting there. Like somebody passed by this bag of watches and missed out. And I think I paid about $5 for this whole bag. And to get a nice gold plate Hamilton in there, it's not in bad condition really. Once I put a strap on there, and if I can get this to go again, which I think I can, that's probably like a $200 and $250 somewhere in there dollar watch. So definitely some good profit in that bag already. Now, some of you at home might ask, Alex, how did you come to find a giant cardboard box full of jewelry? And I'll tell you, it was an estate sale. And so like set up like a garage sale, and I saw they had all these bags of jewelry, and then they had some stuff that was a little bit better. It was priced individually, you know, stuff gold plate and silver. Honestly, they said they didn't even know what they had. They just were trying to sell all their departed mom's old stuff at the sale, and I kind of said how much if I took everything, the entire table worth of stuff, and I did. The price they put on it was $250 Canadian for everything. And so now we're going to go through and see if that was a worthy investment. Some of it's going to be costume for sure, but that doesn't mean costume doesn't sell or isn't worth money. Encouraging thing I heard was that they said, we don't have a loop and we don't have the time to look through this to see if there's anything good. Well, maybe I'll be so lucky as to find maybe some gold and some silver stuff. Bracelets, grab bag. They just were literally shoving stuff in a bag and pricing it at the sale. So I might wait until Melissa's back. She's just getting my daughter. When she's back home, we'll go through all this stuff and dump it out piece by piece and see what we can find. Melissa just got home and I pulled the bag out to look through. It wasn't jewelry, but she said, "Well, are you gonna go through the jewelry without me?" So she's excited to go through the jewelry. It was like I was in trouble with my lady. But see, like this bag, they had out at the yard sale for $3. There's a nice chromatic pen. Some of these old advertising pens can be pretty interesting. Uncle Tom's Cabin, Millicent, Alberta. It's been an old motel pen. You find some of these that have advertisements for gas stations or service stations. They can be worth a bit of money, but I've not found one of those yet. Let me rip this thing open. We'll dump it right out. I'm going to cover that symbol up, but there's a World War II German lapel pin mixed in their grab bag with buttons. Nothing like selling the kids a grab bag as much as it's a symbol I can't really display. You can imagine what it is. That is a piece of World War II history, and probably somebody in the family was a soldier during the Second World War and brought that thing back. She said that her grandpa was Norwegian, so they would have come in contact with Germans during that time during the war. Well, that's an interesting little find right off the hop. Oh, and this looks like it's Canadian blood donor. Okay. Well, a few interesting things. The German pin is definitely a historic sort of thing. I don't know how they decided what went where. That's interesting. No idea what that's off of. It looks like it kind of pops out and maybe has a different feature. Put that in my investigate later. But, okay. Trucking pins, Curtis feed pin, a couple of cross pins, motel pins, wooden nickels. So nothing too spectacular in this batch. Joe Montana, LA Gear. Well, somebody might think that's cool. So I gotta start separating the stuff into mildly cool and then a batch of stuff that is I can't do anything with. Like what I'm gonna do with a broken end of a little hammer. Probably not much, or a clothespin. So let's just let the sorting begin. Now I know that this isn't jewelry, but there's a 1984 Kenner Superpowers Superman, which is a skinny card version. I don't know if this was a mail away or I don't know where they would have sold these skinny cards, but it's never been opened. It's still sealed in the package. That's cool. Don't know why they have that, but that's cool. And then they also had this 1979 from the Movieland Wax Museum. So it's a postcard of Christopher Reeve as Superman. Well, somebody was a Superman fan. I think they said they had an uncle who was big into Superman. Oh, that was the worst story, I have to tell you. This uncle liked Superman and Batman and Spider-Man comics in the 1950s and 60s and had every single one in mint condition. They lived on a farm. When they moved properties back in the 80s, they burnt all of his comic books so they didn't have to pack and move them. I said, you probably burnt $500,000 of comic books. They said, yeah, they were all mint. It's just, we didn't want to have to pack them with us. Oh, that story is going to give me nightmares, guys. You have no idea. Oh, anyway. You think it's bad when your parents sold your toys at a garage sale? Imagine being the guy who had all of his like first Spider-Man and Batman and all that stuff get burnt off in your pit out at your farm. Edmonton Eskimo Souvenir Program from 1978. We got rodeo programs, which I thought were cool. A couple of BA maps, which is British American Motors. Some old postcards going way back. And more rodeo programs, which I just think are neat. And then a couple Western country song roundups with Goldie Hill, Lefty Frizzell, Hank Williams. And that's Hank Sr. on the cover of that one. And somebody obviously took a vacation to the Hungry Horse Dam. There's a Montana highway map from the 50s. You've got the little window stickers and stuff. So I always like this kind of stuff because you put it in your glove box of an old car at a car show or something. It just adds a whole lot of extra flavor to it. And you can put these little stickers, these water transfer decals, you can still use them and put them on your windscreen or on your glass of your car. And like on an old Woody wagon or something, it looks fantastic. So some neat stuff and a terrifying story about burning comic books that will haunt me to my grave. But other than that, it's time for jewelry. And alas, Melissa is here.
I think I always wave. Hello.
Yeah, why not? You want to do the honors of dumping this box out?
Yes,
now, you're going to see some things have price tags on them. So like I said, I did buy this from a garage sale, estate sale type situation.
Oh, it must have taken forever to price all that.
Oh, that one says gold.
Ooh.
I think we're definitely going to need the loops. I saw this one, I grabbed it because it said gold.
Do you want me to go get a loop?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Those of you watching at home, I think it's... Melissa's gonna get the loop. But a lot of times I hear from folks, they say, I'm surprised that you didn't have your loop handy. Well, that's because I'm just so excited to go through stuff. There's no way that can be real 18 karat. It doesn't feel like 18 karat gold. That one might be though. But keep in mind, even though they have this stuff priced, $35 for gold necklace or whatever, I got everything, the entire box for $250. So I think we're gonna do okay on this. Even though these are on newer looking cards, they actually bought these cards to put the jewelry on for their garage sale. So it's not like this is new inventory on the cards. It's just that's how they decided to to do it. Let's see. So we need a 9 carat. Well, oh no, yeah, 9 karat gold. So it's not a high value gold piece, but it's still gold nonetheless. So now we got to keep our eyes open to see if any of this is Sherman or, oh, it is. There is a name on it.
I gave you a loop under your hand.
I see that. We're looking through the loop. See if we can see what that name is. Jewelcraft. Well, it's not Sherman, but it's still costume. Nice, slightly nicer costume jewelry. The Sherman's usually easy to spot because it has a big S on the back of it, or it'll say Sherman. This one says it's Coventry, Canada. Costume jewelry isn't to be discounted because it's costume jewelry. It might not be real gold or anything, but sometimes it's really pretty and striking. This one is, it says Celebrity New York. It's like a pear shaped. They had $45 on that one. Who's to say what that would actually bring at auction, but it's still a neat piece. Melissa's busy over there with her loop. You find any silver yet? This one's
No.
marked 925 silver. What do you think that stone is?
I'm not sure.
Yellow? Not citrine.
If this were an actual stone, it would be citrine, but I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, it's an actual silver ring.
Yep.
It's tarnished. That's not that the plating's coming off. Silver obviously tarnishes.
This would come completely, that would completely come off.
We should
like
almost
that
clean it
tarnish.
and then show them a before and after. But that's a heavy little chunk of silver. Trying it on for size. I feel like you can summon the power of Grayskull from lightning bolts and such that come. Okay, this is gonna go in my precious metal category over there. But look at all these cool pieces. This little turtle brooch. Like, it's just kind of fun, even if it wasn't silver. And I don't see any marks on that one yet. I'll have a closer look.
This looks like one of those magnet bracelets.
Oh, like, yeah, you're right. It's supposed to, it'll draw the impurities out. What do they tell you it's going to do? But yeah, they're not cheap though, those things. I bet that's silver. It has all the feeling of a silver or white gold or something.
I'm gonna look.
Yeah, maybe see if there's marks on that one. While Melissa's checking that, those are definitely silver earrings with looks like a little bit of amber on them.
This doesn't feel silver. This is not. You can tell that one's not. No,
No stamps, nothing.
nothing. It's just like you can tell as soon as you put it under the loop that it's just like a.
Another big brooch here. It's missing one of the gemstones out of it, one of the stones out of it. So we'll have to kind of separate stuff out based on whether it's gold, whether it's silver. This one says 925 sterling, so she checked some of it. It's a little sombrero. Probably purchased on holiday in Mexico or something like that. A little sombrero necklace. How cute, with the pendant. And we'll check over all the rings and what we're looking for. I think that one says sterling. There's just a pile of stuff. Crystal beaded necklaces.
There's
Just
a lot of brooches.
a lot of brooches, yeah. There's a lot
But they're
of.
pretty interesting.
Oh yeah.
I used to really like brooches. Like I wore them a lot for jewelry.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely pretty. That one's ornate with sort of the filigree gold coloring on it. And this is just the first box out of what is going to be a very big box.
I thought this was it.
Did you actually?
Yeah, I actually did. Well,
No,
now
this
I'm more
whole
excited.
thing is all jewelry.
my
The
goodness.
whole thing. I don't know what it weighs, but it weighs a lot. Oh, here's a neat costume jewelry necklace. Rhinestones and the big sort of stone right in the middle. Now, I know obviously those aren't real diamonds, but that is a fancy piece nonetheless. Lots of good costume jewelry.
Ooh.
What? Oh, that's a big ring. What is it, a moonstone?
No, it's just a. I think that's just a fashion ring.
But look how iridescent it is. It's like a hologram almost. You think it's glass and it has some kind of like foil underneath or something?
Yeah, something.
Look at it change colors. Purple, what's that mean? I'm feeling distant or moody. Green is like, I'm hungry. I can't make it go purple. Well, that's kind of different. I wonder if our daughter Abigail is going to be interested in having a look at any of this. So that's kind of pretty, actually.
Yeah, it is nice. It says it's from Aldo, but they have a lot of good accessories sometimes there.
Yeah, that's actually kind of pretty.
Yeah.
Would you wear something like that?
Yes.
Well, if there's some stuff that you are interested in.
I'll see.
Oh, there's my watch I dumped in there earlier when I was
Yeah.
carrying it in.
I put it over there.
Thanks. This is an older piece. It's missing whatever stone was in there is now out. But it is marked as silver, sterling silver. So that's a pretty big chunk of silver with enameling. Nicer piece with the hinges like that. Probably wouldn't take much to find some other stone to go in there to fill that spot. We'll put that in the semi-precious. Look, that we're already finding gold and silver and stuff already. Little cameo brooch. Kind of cute. I have arrived at the auction house. I've been gearing up for another sale coming up. So we got the Chalet art glass and some old Pyrex, cookbooks and vintage clothes. Actually, the vintage clothes is probably going to be, I'm hoping, one of the bigger things from the sale, mainly because of all the, where are they? There's a bunch of really cool classic rock t-shirts. Here they are. I think it's this kind of stuff that's going to go well. The Guns N' Roses battle jacket. You've got all these great band shirts and stuff going back to the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Anyway, that is, and the old Levi jeans, of course. All that stuff is going through, and I thought, well, why not add the jewelry to this sale? And that's what I'm doing. So I've got everything kind of bagged up. I've got bags of earrings, bags of necklaces, and it'll just go by the lot. So I don't know, I guess we'll see if this ended up being worthwhile. I brought down the other stuff the other day, like the blow torches and the copper basin, and all my buttons are now in a jar. So it's only a matter of time to see how this stuff will sell. My total investment on everything that I bought in today's episode was $450. So it's anybody's guess what the jewelry is going to sell for. I feel like I got half of that back with just the silver and gold that I got already. So we shall see. But back to the homestead, and we'll do a little recap. Well, even with all the stuff I've taken down to the auction, I've ended up with some really interesting costume jewelry. I've ended up with some cool brooches like this little turtle and the butterfly, sort of a tennis bracelet there. A whole bunch of old watches came out of that bin. The best one being this 1950s Hamilton that might need a little TLC, but either way, it's still a good watch. And yeah, just a lot of cool stuff. So no real big gemstones or mysteries. There were some silver rings in the mix there, but certainly I think worth the money. What do you guys think? Would you have done the same thing as me if you were at a garage sale and bought all their jewelry for 250 bucks? I guess time will tell whether it was a worthwhile investment. As for me, guys, I'm heading out, going to look for more treasures, and my dog is snurfing at me to get let out, so I'm gonna do that. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. We'll see you all soon. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, by the way, and thank you to all those who have already subscribed. After you subscribe, hit the bell for notifications so that turns on when you'll get notified when our new videos come out. But guys, I'm back to work. We'll see you guys soon, and as always, bye for now.